All right, welcome to our show number 2 with Success Uncut. Today I've got Jeff Taylor here with NPC Colorado. He's the chairman in Colorado, and a huge background in entrepreneurship and just a lot of good life stories that I can't wait to hear about. So, let's start out. Let's talk about where you came from, man, and what makes Jeff Jeff.
Talk about. You probably want to ask about how many years I got the perfect attendance through school. Yeah, it was through senior high school. I was a senior. I only left for lunch on senior ditch day. I'm that guy.
You were that student?
I'm a dork.
Yeah. Hey. Well, you probably learned a lot, and that's probably why you are where you're at today.
You know what? All the things add up. You know what it is? It's the story of just showing up.
Right.
I don't know if I've done anything else right, but I have showed up.
I learned in college, it took me 2 years to learn this, but if I just show up to the classes, I don't really have to pay attention a whole lot, but just showing up, I could pass. I could pass that class.
Yep, that's
Yeah, that's 75%.
I think it's a big part of it.
Now, Jeff, I've been wondering this a lot, and I did this in my last podcast. I asked the same question, but I want to ask you the same one too. I kind of feel that entrepreneurships, you either have the DNA, either you're born with it, or it's super hard if you're not born with that DNA to push yourself to be an entrepreneur. I feel like it's much more challenging that way. So it's either you got it or you don't. Now, what's your thought on that?
At first, I was going to challenge you and say, no, it's behavioral, but I think it is DNA, at least for me. Mm-hmm. I know families that, you grow up with a restaurant family and everyone's doing it, and then you spin off and start a restaurant. I don't know, maybe that's behavioral and you grow up that way, but my dad's an artist, total extreme in the red. Like even when he had a great series of paintings that he had taken pictures in downtown Fort Collins, and some of the first stuff I really liked. And I was like high school or college, and I'm like, wow, Dad, if you just sell all these or just print a bunch of those up, then you make money so you can do the stuff you really like. I don't feel it. Not feeling it.
Yeah?
Well, no, it doesn't matter if you feel it. Then you can make money so you can afford to put that into what you really love. He couldn't do it because he is completely in the red on that.
Yeah.
Art
but you were
not there.
You were actually talking to you're saying that you spoke to your dad saying, hey, Dad, you should do this and make money. So at an early age, you're already entrepreneur minded.
Yeah, I actually was. So I was going to originally disagree with you, but for me it was definitely part of the DNA. And I think for most people it is because, there's so many people that just can't really fathom what you're doing because it seems kind of crazy. Mm-hmm. And you go outside of the normal realm of what people do, in a lot of different ways. Not legally, obviously, but in different ways of what's normal. I usually go to work and then I come home and I'm doing it all like this. And sometimes you really invent a lot of things. I've mostly figured out how not to do stuff, which is just as valuable. I know.
You mean like procrastination?
No, well, yeah, that's one of the many things. Like, I did this and I learned how not to do it like that anymore to try to hopefully go in the right direction. Everybody does that. That's
for sure. A big part of what I'm just talking about there is people ask, hey, why did you go into business? Why did you like entrepreneur? Like, why are you doing this? And I'm like, what? It wasn't really a choice. I don't feel like I was born. That's what I am, and this is what I do. If I wasn't owning my own business or being entrepreneur-minded, I don't think I'd be really happy in life.
What would you be doing? Can you even think?
I couldn't even tell you. Anytime I've had a job in the past, I was always trying to think about how I could do it myself. Are you a bad employee? Were you a bad employee, or were you just bored? Because I wouldn't call myself a bad employee. I did enough not to get fired, all right? So I don't think I was a bad employee, but the entire time I'm thinking about how to run my own business, whether it be a section of spin-off of the business I'm working for, or I'm always trying to figure out how to do it myself. So if I wasn't an entrepreneur, I'd be miserable.
Yeah.
It's just who I am. I don't know. Like, do you feel the same way about that, or what's your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm constantly creating, and it's based on so many of your skill sets and kind of what you're born with. I realize it's like, I didn't make up my personality, I didn't make up any of this stuff, but it's like, wow, now that I'm looking at on a sheet of paper, you're kind of having an out-of-body experience, like, how do we put all these pieces together? This is kind of an interesting dude, or unusual. Let's see how we can make all these things come together and provides a service or a product or something that can help people. You know, I mean that's
right.
Kind of how the pieces come together for me.
Play to your strengths. Kind of like, right? Like, this is who I am. I'm not going to deviate from who I am because you can't deviate from who you are. How do you deviate from who you actually are? You can't.
Yeah, I've tried all that.
Yeah. So you play to your strengths and put together the pieces that you feel are your strengths to actually benefit and have a good service or help people. Right?
Yeah, you know what's interesting? I had a business coach who finally put things in perspective for me. It's like, why are you doing all these things? You're actually great at these couple of things. You know, right. It wasn't a slam, but it's kind of like when you're an entrepreneur, you do everything. You know.
Well, especially early on in the first year, 2 years, 3 years, you wear a lot of hats.
You do. You wear all the hats, and that's important, so you know exactly what goes on at every level of your business. Mm-hmm. But at some point, you need to get people that do that stuff great, as opposed to
Absolutely.
What do you do great? You know what I mean? And so when you find out what those things are, you focus on just that, and things usually go better. But sometimes it takes a long time to figure that out.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, I mean, prime example. I was wearing every hat, a few years ago, and I'm doing my own books. So I work all day and I go home at night and work on my books, and I suck at bookkeeping. Yeah. I'm terrible at it. So eventually I realized that, wait, why am I spending all this time and energy on something I just don't enjoy and I'm not
I know, because you don't have the money.
That's exactly it.
But those few times where I've been pushed, like my favorite story, my sweet wife, Melissa, kind of got sucked in. It's like in the fine print on the marriage contract. You got to work the business with your husband. So, reality-wise, her first show she started helping me with, I made 20% more money. She's incredible. She's, plugging up all these holes in the dam, and she's doing everything right. I'm like, oh my gosh. So years down the road, we're sitting in our counselor's office, and she's like, Rick's asking her, so, Melissa, do you like working for Jeff? No, I don't. What? I've told you, but it's like the family business. I can't quit. Right. But the minute it's like I was forced to go, oh, I gotta do something different, everything was much more efficient. Even though she's great at it, it wasn't great for our marriage. Probably the best thing we ever did for our marriage.
Well, probably right. Yeah, absolutely. And I'm sure after that talk, you guys, just by talking, getting it out there, and some things you can change, probably made things better for her. And does she still help you?
No, a few things, back of house type stuff. Off-site and that kind of thing here and there.
Okay.
And she's like when we get together, I mean, she's got 1.5 million followers on Pinterest, and her imaginationsoup.net is her blog. She reviews kids' books and games and that kind of stuff. She's amazing. She's like a real key person in her, small world of people that love that. And so it's great. We have like mastermind meetings at our house during the day sometimes, and then at night, it's
that's family stuff. Yeah, absolutely. We dug in a little bit of how you grew up a little bit. You said you were kind of an entrepreneur from the get-go.
And a dork.
And a dork. Went to school every day. Never missed a day except
never missed a day.
Not even senior skip day? Is that it?
I went off campus for lunch.
For lunch. Ooh. Mm-hmm.
I know. It was a little awkward coming back late for a class. But.
So I'm gonna skip forward a little bit with it because I really want the viewers to know, who Jeff Taylor is and kind of the experiences you've had in business and in entrepreneurship. So, what was your first experience of business or entrepreneurship?
Actually, it's kind of a cool story, and I'm really thankful for all the things that have happened. Some not so good, but they kind of put you in the right path. Most importantly was my gymnastics assistant coach at CSU, Brian Richmond.
Your gymnastics coach at CSU. So you were in gymnastics.
Yeah, he was assistant coach.
There's so much I don't know about you, Jeff.
Oh yeah. That is just one of the small pieces, but so he is the only guy I know that has a PE degree and an MBA, and then in the process he gets his CPA certification. Well, the guy's amazing.
Yeah.
Here's the crazy part: fast forward to today, he's still coaching me through life. He helps me with my taxes every year.
That's great. Yeah, he's our CPA. Yeah.
And he really has that coach's heart, but he's helped me figure out my lifetime plan, and it's been great. But so I had experience and exposure in college. He had gymnastics camps, kids camps, all kinds of stuff. He even had a retail store downtown. So I got to see all those pieces, and that I think really influenced me. Plus, I got to work the U.S. gymnastics championships.
Oh wow!
And drive around the ABC producer, and so I saw that, and so that really motivated me to get go this direction at some point. It didn't happen right away. It was kind of circuitous, but yeah, it's kind of cool to see how those pieces came together.
The mentor, one of your first mentors, you maybe would say that you got a taste of entrepreneurship by watching him do it, right?
Just modeled, and seeing the things that didn't work and things that did. And it was fun, and it was always coming up with new stuff. And I was like, that works.
Right. Well, I'm sure not everything worked for him.
No. But one of my first jobs was, or my first businesses was, my buddy and I had been working construction in the summers. And so we started a home construction because my degree is in construction management. Few people know that because
I didn't know.
Why would anyone
degree
care?
in construction management.
Industrial construction management, ICM.
Yeah.
So I didn't go the industrial route. We started our own home building company along with a couple other things, and that was the one that kind of stuck. And my coach actually let me build his house. It's still standing. Just so you know, my son lives in it now. Hopefully there's no leaks. So he was not only a great model, but he was giving opportunities like that. I mean, I was like 20.
You built his house when you were 20 years old?
20, 21, right in that space.
Wow.
Yeah, it was crazy.
I've been lucky to put together like a birdhouse at that point.
I kept that information secret. Melissa actually didn't know I was handy. After about like 5 or 6 years of marriage, I did something like, wait, you could do that?
Oh shit.
Yeah.
The cat's out of the bag.
Although I may not be as efficient, I'll admit the 150 square foot shed we made in the backyard did take me like a year. They had built like 2 houses in front of our house from the ground up.
That's good, Jeff. These guys told me to take 3 weeks to build this podcast room. It was about 6 months.
Yep, I feel your pain.
Yeah. All right, so you started one of your first businesses that stuck was building homes.
Yeah, construction. Did that through college and after college for a couple of years, and then that was not a great time in the housing market. And I started a gym with a couple buddies of mine at about age 25, I guess, after just a couple years after college. And up in Fort Collins, New Form Weightlifting and Aerobics Club.
What was the name of the gym?
1200. New Form Weightlifting and Aerobics Club. Okay. Still a few people out there that know
They might know that, yeah.
Bad friends.
Okay.
But so that was a long, long time ago during the crazy growth years of clubs. So it was a lot of fun.
Well, let me back up a little bit before you get to the gym life. So you're running this business, building homes, and you said the housing market kind of went up.
Yeah, but you know what's more important than that?
Yes.
You don't, I don't know about you when you figured this out, but I didn't figure out that I was a people person. My dad's an artist. And, I mean, he didn't really
More introverted artist?
Yeah, and, he's a great guy, but he wasn't an extrovert business guy. So, he just said, well, Jeff, you're really good at math and architecture, you like, so maybe civil engineering. He's like, okay. And I hated it. I did 3 years and, I almost flunked out and changed it to construction management. I like that. But the reality is, no one helps you figure out what your strengths are through this whole process. I'm not really the person to hang out and talk with 60-year-old subcontractor plumbers. I mean, I like those guys, but I felt like I don't really fit doing this. I need to be around people. I love people. It's a gift. I don't know.
Sure.
And I want to help people and do as many things I can to help them to get where they want to go. And so that I think was a real aha, one of the biggest ahas in my early days of entrepreneurship. Did you ever have that? Are you like...
Yeah.
Because you're a people person.
Well, absolutely. I mean, it's kind of interesting because I enjoy talking to people, but I'm actually introverted in nature. So I get my energy when I'm by myself in clubs.
Reading a book or...
just being kind of introverted. That's where I
Sorry,
recharge.
man, I get my energy right now.
I know. I mean, I do. I get so energized up and pumped about talking with people, but it just drains me. So after this podcast, I'll be, what I think is really important about what you said is understanding who you are. Like having that awareness, self-awareness to say, I am really good with people. And then you leverage that and say, this is who I am. A lot of people don't have that self-awareness. And that's where they really run into problems, where they think they're good at things that they might necessarily be good at, and they think they're bad at things that they haven't tried. It's just that self-awareness piece. A funny story, not most people know this, and I think this attests to you learn entrepreneurship with hands-on. I took one business class in college, and I was failing, so I dropped it. That was my extent of my knowledge of business.
No kidding.
But here I am running multiple businesses.
Yeah, it's just not quite the same. It's kind of like my sister graduated marketing, so she gave me names of, a title of what I was doing.
Right.
No, I did not know.
I did not know that I was doing guerrilla marketing at this point. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's funny. All right, so it was in that process of leaving the building business into the gym that you became more self-aware and realized, hey, I'm good with people.
Yeah.
Right. So and I won't call that a failure, but I call a lot of my not huge successes failures.
Yeah.
Within that process, you actually learned a lot about yourself and probably how to run business better going into running that gym, correct?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, so tell me about the gym.
Did you want my resume of things that have failed?
Yes, I would love it. Because I think I'm not afraid of failure. I'm not afraid to take a risk.
It doesn't...
I'm not going to gamble everything on my risks. I'm going to make sure if I fail that I'm going to be still living and be able to pay my bills. But I love taking risks and I love doing stuff. And I don't mind failing at it because I learn a lot from failure.
Yeah.
Right. So.
Yeah, and I think too that's the great thing when you are at certain stages in life, you have more bandwidth and ability to take risks without affecting your whole family. You know what I mean? That's why sometimes if you're, raising your family and you're the sole provider, a key provider, you're going to have to take slower paths, and that's okay. That still works. Once this builds up and, you can quit your job once it catches up if it's regular, you know what I mean? So it's just a different pathway. But boy, if you're single and you don't have anything else going, that was my story. That was all I wanted to do.
Yeah, when you're single, it's okay taking a huge risk because it just affects you, no one else. But when you have a family...
I messed up a few times and ate ramen for 6 months and sold my car until I could buy it.
Tell me about that. I want to know more about that. Let's talk about it. I'll tell you mine. I'll start with mine.
I want to hear yours.
All right. So one of my first supplement business was GNC. And so I own a couple GNCs out here in Colorado. And the GNC name, great company, I'm not going to dog the company, but internet sales became very prevalent. So people started shopping online rather than going into retail stores. So I made a decision I wanted to switch brands and do something a little bit different. Well, that was a huge, huge risk. And for the first year, I didn't make enough money for my own apartment. I literally slept on my buddy's couch for a year, running my business every day, 7 days a week, 365, not one employee, and ate ramen noodles and anything I could afford to make that happen. Obviously, I would never make that risk now with a family, but I had the luxury when I was single to be able to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I've done it a few times, and things happen and you do what you have to do. And I'd like to bring a buddy of mine on one time. He's got a great story.
Yeah.
Little Rich Schneider.
Rich, you were telling me about Rich.
Yeah, amazing guy. And another guy that I get so much energy from because I just listen to what he's doing. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's better than reading a motivational business book. Just having lunch. Right. I'm buying because that was really
that's valuable.
Yeah, it's totally valuable.
Absolutely.
And it's mutual, and you find those people in business. And, we have that interaction and it's like, wow, I need to be around more people that are helping me go that direction because, you run into enough energy vampires, in life. That's just, you got to go, wow, I don't know if that's working. That's not helping me get anywhere.
And you become very cautious in where you put your time and energy because of that stuff.
I wasn't very good at that for a while. I still...
You learn the hard way.
Yeah, I still do. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'll have people, and so that's where I make as many mistakes as I do,
You have a big heart. If you care about people, it's kind of hard to...
I'd rather fail those ways.
Yeah, I get it. So. All right, so kind of backing up again. Let's go back to now you're running this gym, right? So this is a whole new entrepreneur business that you have. How'd that go?
Well, it was great, for a few years, and then as all businesses change, CSU had a rec center, so those almost 2,000 students in our started with 1,200 square feet, went to 10,000. It wasn't easy money anymore, and it was never that much money because here's what I learned, because we borrowed small sums of money, like $1,000. From like 15 or 20 friends and, bought equipment and then paid them back because I was like 15, 16% interest rate. So we're like, you're going to get your money back.
And make some return on investment.
Yeah, because how am I going to, I don't have anything. So it's a higher return rate for them, and we paid them all back. And so the reality is, I didn't understand that when you have equipment that's like you write it off over a period of its life, like 5 or 8 years, the depreciation schedule. Yeah. So I'd spent all of our money, and I paid cash for everything. It's like, we're killing it. All right, we're not making much money, but we bought everything. We own this whole thing. Yeah. All of a sudden, you have like a $5,000 tax bill, and you're like, wait, what? I can't pay that. So I got into trouble early on just because of some things I didn't understand how business works. You have to make a lot more money than you think. Yeah. And you have to really understand that. And I didn't understand all those pieces at first. And
when you do the numbers at first, you're like, oh, well, this is my break-even point, and this is how much money I need to make to survive. And that don't seem too bad. There's always those X variables that you don't see that really drain you. So, all right, so
we started that first club, and then 4 years later, we started a second club. It was more like an executive club. It was pretty funky, kind of crazy colors, and then a third one in Boulder. And my business model didn't work. It was supposed to be, obviously, each one would double, triple
the revenue. Right.
Actually, it just tripled the expenses. I don't know. Somehow the math didn't work out. I loved it. I had fun. I wouldn't trade anything, except for maybe don't sign personally on a few leases. Things
I've learned that too.
Everybody has that. Does everybody learn that? Yeah. Oh, oops. Yep. But you usually don't have that option or that luxury, so you just do what you have to do.
Especially when you're just starting out.
Especially when you're starting out.
And you don't have any, clad or anything you have to sign personally. Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right, so you made a good point and I did the same mistake.
Yeah, tell me about your story, because I've watched you, and I've admired all the things that you've done, and you figure out, you retool, and
absolutely
back bigger, better.
A lot of failures, yeah, for sure. So I did the same thing. I had one nice business, and I thought, well, I'm not making a ton of money, but maybe if I opened up another one and then another one, I'll make triple the amount of money. And you're exactly right. You just triple your expenses. And when one business isn't making profits, that takes from the other business and destroys the other business. And all of a sudden you're making less money than what you started with 3 times the headache and 3 times the overhead. Yeah, so I did the exact same scenario. So what I did, I closed a couple businesses, regrouped, restructured, went down to one. And really what's helped me a lot is systems and mentoring and developing people. Those 2 keys have really helped me expand the business. When I branched out and did more stores, I had no systems in place. I had no training models. I had no sales models.
Totally seat of the pants entrepreneurship, right?
Yeah. Just run by the seat of my pants. Yeah.
Is that a testosterone thing?
It might be. Pretty sure. And I'm just winging it. Yeah, this is how you do it. Go do it. And there was no model, no systems in place to ensure success. So sometimes you learn the hard way. But I want to trade it for the world, Jeff. I want to trade. I'm glad I went through that, because I would not be here today if I didn't go through that.
One of my best friends talks about this. Clark Sanchez, he is the vice president of the NPC. He lives in New Mexico. That he would call your PhD program.
Yeah, hard knocks. Yep. Absolutely. Yeah. But that's my story, a little bit of stories on failures. But I'm going to move the attention back to you.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's fast forward here. Let's fast forward into what you're doing now, and kind of give us some education on the NPC and what that's all about, and after that, maybe tell me what's in store for the future.
Gosh, that's a really big barn door there. I don't know.
Go wherever you want to go.
On that, I was lucky enough to.
How long you been doing this with NPC?
I was made NPC chairman for Colorado in 1991.
You're dating yourself, Jeff.
I know. I hate to do that. It is a little spooky for people that were born in the 2000s, the late 90s. But the process went kind of like this. If I was going to do like a summary, so I started out, with just one show or so when I did my gyms, because I had a lot of guys that were training for shows. Mm-hmm. So I worked out with them, supported them, and like, we should do a show up here. I didn't know anything. I didn't know what I was doing. Figured it out. Did bench press contests, did all kinds of events. Did doubles volleyball tournaments for probably 5 or 10 years in Fort Collins. Endless summer volleyball. And I think that was it. Endless summer doubles volleyball tournament. So we, a couple of my friends at that time were working together and started the shows. And once I took over as chairman, we just started adding shows. And in 1993, I won the sanction for the Junior USA in Denver. So that was the first national show that we had in Colorado. And then in 1995, John Lindsay and I did the USA Championships in Denver. A few people know that. It wasn't really successful. The Junior USA was wildly successful. But for our market at the time, we just didn't have enough people to provide the local support. So that didn't go as well. And curiously, the next year, John put it on in Las Vegas, and it's still there. So that totally worked for the USA. Denver, not so much. Then I did the Junior USA again in 1997. It was very successful, but not as much because it was a new airport. It cost more to get here. And, when you break it all down, statistically, you find out that, people aren't going to spend more than $600 to get here on the weekend, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So those costs became a little too high. So it wasn't as good as 93, but it was a great chance for me to get mentored by some of the greatest minds in the business, which is John Lindsay and Steve Carroll and Pam Betts, all of them still friends, and so Steve Carroll still runs nationals, and I see him pretty regularly as well. But so that was kind of the resume builder maybe, and then just kept adding and trying to find out what do people want, what's the best thing that can work for them. And I had some failures, like I had a summer where I did shows in Nebraska and Utah, and did it by the book. I learned from these guys, but I was missing a key ingredient, and but you know what? The show always went on. I had a show with 7 competitors. The show went on.
7.
Oh man! So that was not great. But it's part of the learning curve. It's what you do to learn, and you know what? I think one of the worst things that happened was in 1998, the state championships. We're about to start at 6 o'clock. It was like 5 o'clock, and someone runs into a power utility box out in front of the venue. It was like 95 degrees, and no lights, no air conditioning. People are getting upset. Oh, we want our money back. I'm still having a show. Kevin Levrone, who's one of my favorite people, man. We've had some crazy stories. I should tell you some Kevin Levrone stories.
That's what this is all
about.
Maybe
one day. But I will just say that there's nobody more supportive. He came out and he goes, get some flashlights. I'll pose to keep people from tearing the house down. So he posed the flashlights before we could get started. We eventually did it outside because the power did not come on, with car lights as it got dark. Mm-hmm. And of course, there's no reserved seats. So here's your conundrum. If you just go, hey, we had the show, too bad, you don't get your money back. Well, you're done. You're not taking care of customers.
You're not taking care of them.
Even though it wasn't your fault, I didn't run into that powered thing, but so it happened. So I gave everybody their money back, or gave them credit for the next show. So, 10 to 20 grand. And that's hard to make up when, you're barely making it at that time. So, but I did it because it's like, I'm doing this for the long haul. I got to stand up far enough back to go, it's going to be okay out here. Mm-hmm. And it was, like always it works out. But
that's a
painful
great
for the short term.
That's a great story, and I think that's what's really interesting about the story is like what you just said, you're doing this for the long haul. I think a lot of people want immediate gratification, and if they're not making money within the first 3 months, 6 months of their business, they're out, right? But right there, if you have the mindset of, hey, this is something I'm going to be doing for the next 5, 10 years, so this one big setback, which hurt probably pretty bad, 10 grand is a lot of money. In the long picture, it's not that big a deal.
It was more than that. Not to mention, I don't think I laughed about it for a few years. Now look, I'm laughing. Finally healed. That was a tough one. Because, that happens in life, stuff happens. I'm here and my house is getting remediated from mold. My kids are sick. But you know what? You do everything you can, and you got to keep going.
The show goes on, I guess, right? Yeah, you just got to keep...
what are you going to do? I sit around and go... Doggone it. I don't know, I got to figure out how to keep moving forward.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so your house has mold right now, and your family's sick from it, right?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, but you're still here doing what you need to do.
Yeah.
And tell me about that. We were talking about that a little bit earlier.
Yeah, it's a big, long story, and it's a bummer because every time people ask me, they think it's going to be better, and it's like, oh, it's another Debbie Downer story. But sometimes it's a big process to get through stuff. And hopefully this is, we found everything and we'll get it remediated the right way and we'll all be fine. So,
in the long game, in the long vision,
short term not as good. So,
right on.
Yeah.
Right on. All right. So NBC had some failures, had some successes with what in your business and what you do. What do you think is that key that made you successful in the long run?
I think it goes back to something I'm not even equipped with. I mean, I didn't make it up. I just love people. And I really want people to achieve their goals. I want to help them. I'm kind of like how trainers get so excited when, they get energy from seeing their clients succeed. I'm like that in this venue where, people are, I get emails from competitors that, they didn't finish in first place. Some of them even won a trophy, but I go, wow, Jeff, this really changed my life. I feel like I can do other hard things now. That was the hardest thing I've ever done, and then you see people years later, you know what, maybe they don't all follow through and keep competing, but you know what, in their lives, they figured out a way. They can't really diet like you do for a show. That's crazy. Of course, no one does, and that's the thing that's hard because you look at the pictures and you go, I want to look like that all the time. You can't actually look like that all the time. A few people can, but the reality is you click it back a few notches where you can live and still look incredible, and then you live there. And so you see people sometimes after they go through a hard time in life or busy time or kids or a really busy job, they've never missed a workout or a meal. They've trained hard and they've continued getting better and better. And they're 40. They have a little bit more spare time ahead of them, and then they do a show and they love it. And it's a completely different experience for them as opposed to when they're in their 20s. I love that.
Yeah.
Because to me, that is the real victory. Because it's like, wow, this is part of your life. It's not just, I just want to win a trophy and I'm good. Look, here's my trophy. It's like, yeah, I hope that becomes a part of your life. If that is all of it and it's a one and done and it's a bucket list thing, cool. I hope you're a fan and that you had a great experience and you wanted to come back. And I want to make it fun enough. I mean, for me, the creative part is making like this, you walk in and you don't even know why you like it. But all the little pieces, you know what I mean? Kind of like your store. It's like, I love your store. And I know, because I'm a construction guy, all the little pieces that you did to make it feel good. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. That's what I want. I want people to go in and have that energy. And it's so, intangible sometimes. Yeah. Maybe it's just the layout of the booth. Because I've done layouts that don't work. Mm-hmm. How can a layout not work? They're just booths. Actually, they don't sometimes.
Yeah.
And I figured that's really interesting to me. Because it brings in human nature. And it brings in, supporting people and making them feel the best that they can feel. I love that. I don't know. I mean, that's something I think is just a gift. I don't take any credit for it at all. Thanks, God.
So I'm really hearing you say, and obviously you guys can see the passion that Jeff has for his sport and his industry. You got to have that first and foremost. You have to be passionate about what you do.
Yeah. You know what? How about the gym business? All you gym owners. Man, if you don't love people and love the business, God, those 12, 14-hour days.
Long days.
Going to crush you.
Yeah. But really what I'm hearing you say is your why. Why you do what you do is very genuine and very powerful for you, and it bleeds out. It bleeds through your entire infrastructure of your business, all the way to the first-time competitor that walks up on stage and gets to know Jeff a little bit, and they feel your why, which is you want to help people. Right? So, and there's a lot of businesses that start that I want to make a lot of money. That's what that's why I'm doing this. And 9 times out of 10, that business does not succeed because there's no genuine why behind it. And I think that foundation of that business, of your business, that genuine why and the type of guy you are, I think you're right. That's the reason, ultimately, why you're successful. Now, you'll have failures, little failures here that something didn't work, or this didn't work, but in the long game, you're going to be successful because you're a genuine why.
I guess I hadn't really thought of it that way. But yeah. And I think maybe you just go along and, go through the motions, or you figure out, it doesn't seem like I like that. You know what I mean? And I think the thing that's cool that with a lot of entrepreneurs that I talk to, it's like when you do stuff you love to do, it usually works out, even if you don't make a ton of money. And that whole rich dad, poor dad thing, every time somebody, I'm not a proponent. It's like, pay yourself first. Yeah, really?
Good luck.
Yeah. Instead of the light bill? Have you ever run a business? No. You take care of everyone else first, and you hopefully have created something that has enough to be able to help you get to the next one, you know?
Mm-hmm. Now, I think the only way that philosophy works, if your business is matured enough, where it's making good profits or has good revenue, where you pay yourself what you want to make, which isn't what, ultimately you would like to make, but what you need to make first, and then you make cuts on stuff that doesn't matter as much, like the big marketing piece that you think may go great, but it's $15,000 and you're not sure. You make cuts on that, I think. I think that's the only way that philosophy works.
Yeah.
In the beginning, absolutely not. Does not work. Yeah. So, all right, so backing up a little bit here is we talked about the why a little bit and how, in my opinion, obviously, is I think that's the reason why you're super successful, because if you didn't like people, if people are okay, but I love putting on a show and I love doing events, you want to be as successful as what you are.
Yeah.
I believe.
I think that's probably pretty true.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So when we were talking about earlier, I'm going to switch notes a little bit here, unless you want to talk some more about NPC.
No, go ahead.
Okay. You talked a little bit about starting an ebook, and you're into it right now. How much have you got done with it?
Okay. Yeah.
I'm not going to let you off the hook.
Yeah, I know. Well, I had all the corrections ready to put into, I had printed out the 60 pages, and I corrected things in my red pen and where it was going to go, arrows, and then we had the flood in our basement. It was sitting on the floor, and everything was just like pink blobs. And, I'm like, what a wimp. I mean, I was like, oh, God, I can't do that again. But the information is so good because it's about how IFBB and NPC athletes can get sponsored. I'm passionate about the topic, but actually getting it out there has been this big chasm I'm not getting across somehow. Not that I hate writing, but I guess I hate writing. I don't know.
All right, but
you're going to do psychology on me? Okay. Go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, help me out. You're struggling a little bit right now with completing this, right?
Yeah.
And that's, my background's in psychology. I have a little bit of background in counseling, right? So I like to dig on a psychological level.
Okay, go ahead, dig. Drill down a little bit deeper.
Yeah, I'll drill down a little bit, but I won't go too deep. But let's back up a little bit. So you have this ebook. You have a great idea, which is helping competitors get sponsorships, right? So, and I think the misconception out there with a lot of competitors is, hey, I did a show and did well, so I need a sponsorship.
Right? You've heard it, right?
I've heard it a million times.
Yeah.
Yeah, and as a business owner, and I'm blunt about it, but tactful. It's not valuable to me unless X, Y, and Z happens. Just because you win a show doesn't mean I'm making money, as a business. So from the information in the book, the ebook that you're writing, what are some topics out of that?
Well, I think the overview is that, the fact that you spend 16, 20 weeks preparing for a show. How long are you on stage? A minute? 2? Mm-hmm. I'm paralleling my whole spiel. Like, you need to be prepared for that first contact with Kurt at Fit Republic or whoever, whatever supplement company. If it's just an email, a phone call, in person at a trade show, you need to have all this same kind of preparation in this area. And you know what? Most of our people don't know that. I do because I'm a business person and I've worked around so many sponsors. I mean, I know all these guys. And they all have your story, Mm-hmm. Hey, and some of them are so rude. Look, I won the show. I need a sponsorship.
Right.
Well,
the entitlement.
That's like delete.
Mm-hmm.
You ruined your chance with that person.
Mm-hmm.
But what if you would have said, "Hey, wow, I really like I like this one product," and name it.
Right. I know what you're talking about.
I've had sponsors tell me they named some other brand. What do you? I'd love to sell your VPX. Yeah, well, this is a different company. You know what I mean? So you're not even putting those pieces together, and there's so many little details like that. And I want to help people with even how to create your own pictures that you can lay over PNGs of things on. You know what I mean? There's easy ways of doing that people don't know. And, thanks to my wife who has all the mom blogging tools that not everybody knows about in our world. Easy fix. There you go. Boom.
Right.
And I just think that there's so many tools that can help people make that good first impression.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you have to do on stage. You need to do it to your potential sponsor. And I also want people to know that the reality of business, I know, well, I don't know your numbers, but I know that that's probably the very, very last thing that's a budget item. If it's even on there.
If it's even on there. And very rarely,
you might have to be convinced to put it on there by maybe someone has a social network that is mind-blowing, or specific group. Maybe they have a really strong following in the military, and you have an interest in reaching military people. You know what I mean? So you have to do a little more homework than just like some generic thing and create something different for every sponsor. And I want to help people do that. I can't do it for every single person, so that's why I was trying to figure out with an ebook. But I think I need a mentor or a tutor.
It sounds like you could collaborate with your wife a little bit on it.
Yeah, I know. She's like,
well, I think
get it to this point and I'll help you.
I think the book would be super valuable, especially to your demographic. So I'm going to speak for everybody out there and push you to finish that book. I think it's going to be super valuable.
Uh-oh, here we go.
Yep. And we're going to put a deadline out there. No, I'm kidding. We're not.
Well, when you're ADHD, those actually work sometimes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I heard, speaking of deadline, I heard the best way to be the most productive is to set an unrealistic deadline for yourself. You'll get so much more done. You may not hit that deadline and accomplish what you want, but you got way more done than what you would have if you didn't.
Yeah, and it's tough when you have your own business and you don't have a boss that's like going, hey, if it's not done, you're fired.
Right.
How do you motivate yourself? You're the big boss. How do you get stuff done?
I'm not motivated all the time. And there's times that I have to motivate, just lock it up and do it.
What do you do?
I do a lot of. I watch a lot of caffeine. I watch people that inspire me. So I watch some podcasts, and one of the biggest ones is Gary Vee, and that's one of the biggest reasons why I started a podcast.
No kidding.
Right. So I follow Gary Vee. I follow Tony Robbins, Darren Hardy. So information and always constantly evolving who I am as a person helps my entire world. So that's really where my motivation comes from. So, and the motivation of what if I actually succeeded at what I want to do? That's very powerful. What if I actually accomplished what I want to do?
Yeah.
And believing that you can accomplish it, Because there's a difference between saying, hey, I would like to accomplish this, but if you don't truly believe that you can do it, you'll never do it. You know what I mean? But back to the book, if you don't believe you're a good writer or can be a good writer, might be a problem in finishing that ebook. You know what I mean?
Probably, yeah.
But that's what motivates me a lot, and that's how owning your own business, you have to be self-motivated. Unless you're motivated by fear of not being able to provide for a family or not be able to make enough money, or what if I failed? I think there's two levels of motivation.
Yeah.
There's fear, and then there's what if I actually accomplished it? You use both of those and should stay pretty motivated.
Good points. I'll put those in my toolbox.
What do you have for motivation?
Some of the similar things. I'm motivated through some of Michael Hyatt, michaelhyatt.com. Some of the people that he's worked with, and I've been to seminars, and this has been very helpful in creating a structure and a foundation. But for me personally, it's like I have to do certain things during the day because I can have this big plan. Well, how am I going to get through my bullet points? And I have to do stuff like a timer because if I'm not competing with something,
so you're very competitive in nature.
I guess so.
Yeah, with yourself, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's a great point where you may have this whole plan of what you're going to do today. I want to accomplish this, but if you don't have,
but it's too much, and so it's overwhelming. So you can't. You gotta take one piece at a time, a little bit, and do. Okay, if I do this in 15 minutes, or if I do this in 30 minutes, then I can reward myself by whatever, walk the dog, or whatever kind of things you need to do, but that you would rather do than this. And that works about half the time. You got to just figure out what. Sometimes it's different. I mean, you're not the same every day.
Right.
Some days remotely, whatever's going on. You just try to figure something. Sometimes you know what? Maybe you do need to sleep. Maybe you need to go back to bed.
Right.
I'm never hardly ever sick.
Right.
So if I'm feeling I'm not feeling very well. So, if you do those kind of things and listen to your body, and it's all about health, I'm going to be better by not being sick at the end of the week if I just sleep this morning for 2 or 3 hours. And when you're like that, because when you just lay down and you're like, bam, I sleep like that, probably a good idea. But who has that luxury if you work an 8 to 5? Well, you don't. But, you know, when you look at, now you don't have any structure, you have to create your own, and sometimes that's a disaster.
One thing I like to do is I do the things I want to do the least first in my day. If I can get those out of the way, I know the rest of the day.
What about this, though? What about to get you started? Because let's just say you don't want to do the things you want to do the least.
Mm-hmm. What if I don't want to?
Yeah.
That's where the self-discipline comes in. Because if you do the easy things and you leave the stuff you don't want to do till last, you're probably not going to do them, and they don't carry on to the
Yeah, but I disagree on that one because, I mean, I think that works.
Yeah.
But not all the time, because sometimes I need the fishing pole hook. You know, if I do this one really easy thing, okay, not going to the bathroom and crossing that doesn't count. But
I see what you're saying, like a layup and a warm up.
Yeah, and you're like, oh, I feel good. And you know what? I like trick myself. I do that in the gym sometimes. Like, God, I just do not want to go into the. Okay, you know what, Jeff? You only have to do one body part. How about only 2 exercises?
Okay. I could do that.
I trick myself. And you go, and you know what? Almost 99% of the time, you're in the groove. You're like, I'm doing this. You just tricked yourself. Mm-hmm. You got to figure out how you work, I think, sometimes. That's at least for me. So that's why I disagree for me.
Sure.
Not 100% of the time. Sometimes it is. It's the most important to get the things that you have to get done first.
Yeah. I agree with you on that point is to do a couple easy things to get you started. Get you started doing something. Mm-hmm. You know, I agree with that. I think you see that be very beneficial. You know, and I think another big motivating factor for people is accomplishment. So as you make your list of things to do, and you do it, and you cross it off, you have a
You're a crosser-offer?
Oh, yeah. I got to cross it off because I get that release of oxytocin.
Do you have to have a different color pen?
No, I'm saying.
Oh, I do.
Yeah. Do you? Yeah. Red over the black? Or
red, purple, pink. I'm good.
Yeah, but it feels good. I accomplished that. It's done off my list. It may be brushing my teeth. Got to brush it. All right, brush my teeth. I feel good.
Whatever you have to do. Sometimes you got to, you know, if you lower the bar far enough.
Right.
You got to do that a little bit every year.
Yeah.
Man, I'm having a really good year. Well, I lowered the bar down a couple more notches.
Yeah. Jeff, what's your 5-year plan with the MPC?
You know what's funny? All the time people are like, oh, what are you doing? Are you eating tired? But it's like, wow, it's weird. I'm more motivated than ever. You know, and I think it's partly because, you know, when I see people working so hard to reach their maximum potential and maximize their own potential, and maybe they're not a national level competitor, but they've done the most that they can possibly do with their physique, given their structure, that's a huge victory. You know what? I'm really motivated by that. That makes me want to get better every single time. Every single show I want to make better than the last one and give people something more than they had or different, or you know what I mean? So that's weird. I don't feel like I've put everything together yet, but I'm still really excited, and I really want to continue making more opportunities for people in different ways, and maybe different platforms, and maybe do some spin-offs, like, you know, I should be getting this book done at that point. And that'll lead in a different direction and kind of put, you know, so they're all kind of in this area, and they all help these competitors, you know, in some way, shape, or form. Because, I mean, I love my athletes. These guys are amazing, you know, and they're doing the work that only a fraction of the percentage of the population can or will do.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, and so, I mean, that's that Division I mentality. I mean, I don't know anybody out there, if you want to write in, you know, there's something about, I wasn't the greatest in, you know, my sport by any means. But, you know, and I was competing against Olympians who always beat me.
And which sport is that?
Gymnastics.
Gymnastics. Yeah.
You get better, you know. It's like you're with the best on the planet. You got smoked, but man, you know what? You were in the room and you feel the energy of that. Mm-hmm. It's actually really cool and really motivating, and I feel that from my athletes, and you know, I want to bring that back and build on it, you know, and make them feel that, and so they go on. You know, sometimes I think they go on too soon, which, you know, that's, I think, counterproductive. So often, take the steps. They're little steps. It's a ladder, you know. You know, don't go to the top right away. I mean, if you fall down, you break your arm, you have to wait a long time to get back. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. That's a metaphor for sure. Getting crushed at a national level show. Yeah. And you're disappointed because you didn't know what to expect because no one told you. Well, I'll tell you what it's like. It's like the difference between first and second here locally. 1st and 15th. It's the same thing on a national level, and not even, it's like national sometimes, depending on how many are in your class. Some of these bikini classes have 50, 60 competitors.
Wow.
You're like, wow. You want to be on your A game, A+++ game, because you only have a few seconds. You know what I'm saying? So I love to talk to competitors one-on-one. I don't get the chance to talk to every single one. I think that's my biggest frustration. Honestly, because, I can't...
So it's really helping them develop themselves to prepare them for when they are ready to go.
Or it's a bucket list. I want them to have an awesome experience that they took home a trophy that they're so proud of, and they changed their body, they changed something about their life, and hopefully they'll tell other people about it, how much fun it was, or even though it was the hardest thing they ever did, it was so rewarding,
Yeah.
Something like that.
Sure. I don't know. Which plays right back into your why again.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, that's a good why. Let's go to Facebook. Do we have any questions out there on Facebook?
Yeah, we got a couple. One is from James Hill, local boy.
Yep.
Shout out.
Hey, James.
What's up, James?
Superstar.
If you don't think you have just enough money to start a business, should you take the risk and invest anyway?
That's a good question.
That's a really good question.
You want to take this one from the top, or you want me to take it?
Why don't you start? Let me process that one.
So if you don't have the money to start a business, it's pretty hard to start the business. Money comes first. If you have the money, you can start it. Yeah. But there's lots of ways to get the money. You can save. It takes longer. You can save. You can get enough money where you can get a loan to be able to do it. Or you can go the investment route where you're pitching your idea and you're pitching your business to other people that may have more money than you have. And then the downside about that is you're going to probably give up a piece of the pie. So if an investor's going to invest in your idea, they're going to want to have some ownership. Unless you can figure out some way to have it's like a loan type of deal where they get a % of the profit, and once you get them paid off, and it's done. Right.
I agree. I think, though, that if you have the passion and the skill set, timing is also important. Maybe it's not the right timing for you.
Right.
Now, if you really feel like it is, and you know what? I don't know if anyone can tell you that it is. If you don't have the right amount of money, but what if you come across a situation where someone's going to get rid of their studio or something like that? They have to make a payment. How many cars have I bought because someone has to make a loan payment or something the next month? I don't really want your car. I'll give you a couple grand. Okay. Oh, great, now I have a car. Bob, can you come help me drive another car home? I've done that a lot on sides. Yeah. Another side you don't know about, right?
Yeah.
I'm a car geek. Anyway, so I think that you can, if you are not so beholden, I have to do this, be flexible. Maybe there's an opportunity that
patient.
If you step back a step, maybe actually physically step back and think about it and go, what if I did a stair step thing to get to over here? And I took this guy's place over, or, all I have to do is take over someone's debt that I feel like I can pay. Don't put yourself in a position that's going to ruin your life.
Yeah, make sure the risk that you're taking is not going to destroy your life.
Yeah.
And I agree with you on that, because I believe that if you want to accomplish something, there's always a way to do it. Sometimes you just might not like those ways, but there's always a way to do it. Yeah. And if it takes some patience and some research to find, like, for example, you're talking about the studio that someone can't pay their bill on, you can take it over cheap without money down or something like that, or whatever that business might be. There's a way to do it. You just might have to have patience and creativity to be able to get it done.
I think I'd like to pull the curtain back on reality here. Okay, let me just ask you a question.
Sure.
Okay, because it's sort of like perception. People, like if I just looked at your business model, I'd say like a year and a half ago you became an overnight success. Right. Why don't you tell me, that's what it looked like to me. I was like, bam.
Right.
When did you actually start? What year?
Start being an entrepreneur, or start
with your business, your own business.
Well, and that's I laugh a little bit when you say that, because I get that. It's, oh my God, you just blew up all of a sudden. You're just overnight to say. You're so. The one thing I cannot stand. You're so.
How many nights was it?
Oh, countless nights.
365 times.
I created Fit Republic in 2012. All right, it's 2017, and before that is really the groundwork.
Right.
For even that. I still consider.
Because you had another brand.
Yeah, Nutrition Zone.
Nutrition Zone.
And I started at GNC.
When did you start Nutrition Zone then?
2008.
Okay, so that was really when you started your own business.
Correct. When I started my own business in GNC, I was a franchisee.
Okay.
GNC. So I owned my own business. Yeah, I had a little bit of help with GNC.
What year was that?
That was 2005.
Okay, so we're up to 12 years now.
12 years. Yeah, I'm a 12-year overnight success.
Do the math. 365 times 12. What is that? Let's do 10. That's, wow.
Right. But that's what people see. That's the perception of owning your own business. And, oh, my God, you're so successful all of a sudden.
Yeah.
And the reality of it is that's not the reality. But when I started, and I told some of this the other day, is when I started in my own business, looking back at it now to them, I was an infant. I mean, I knew nothing about business, and there's no way I could have been super successful unless I got super lucky and stumbled onto something.
That happens.
There's no way. I knew nothing about business. I was running stuff terribly, but it took all those years and everything that I went through to be at the place I am now. And even now, I feel like I'm still wet behind the ears. I don't know everything about business. There's some things I do know about, and I'll speak about them, but I still feel like I'm pretty new in the entrepreneurial world.
I do too.
And I'm 15 years in.
Yeah, I've been doing this a lot longer, and I still feel like, wow, I can still learn from other people, and I think that's actually a really key part of success is being teachable, and not set in your ways. It's like, I know like the difference between, all of a sudden there's a new social media network and then everybody's like, oh, another time suck, with some of my business friends. It's like, or that's just the most incredible way to reach this demographic that you probably aren't hitting very well right now with whatever you're doing.
Opportunity.
Or it's an opportunity. I mean, you have to learn some stuff, but maybe you shouldn't have your own business because you don't feel like you want to learn anything. And I trust me, I have that feeling all the time. Oh, I don't want to do that. Well, find somebody that does.
Right. So find something that's better. Yeah. That's what I was saying, Jeff. That the saying I used a lot is, if you're not growing, you're dying. There is no in between. You don't sit still. Right? There's no like, oh, I'm just idle. I'm okay. If you're not constantly improving yourself and your business, you're going the other direction. You're dying. So, and like for that point you just brought out about the new social media platform, if you don't educate yourself on that platform, you're dying. If you're not growing, you're dying.
Yeah, I confess, I'm not. I haven't really pushed Snapchat enough. I haven't felt that it's been helpful enough. Sure. But maybe I need to research
maybe at this
it one
point
more
in time for you, it's
but
not
I go back
helpful.
to it every quarter and go, now is this going to help me now? Maybe I need to understand more to see if it is. At this point, it's like, if I invest here with this time, this seems to be more effective, but I could be wrong, you know what I mean? Sure. All the time I'm like, I don't know if I know what I'm doing. Do I?
A little bit of self-doubt.
Always,
yeah.
I mean, don't you think that's important?
Absolutely.
Otherwise, you're not really...
But you can't let that self-doubt prevent you from just doing. So we talked about a little bit about this, too, is like, you said you're a little bit of a perfectionist, is that correct, or am I mistaken on that?
Yeah.
A little bit. So if you wait till you're 100% ready, or till that product's 100% ready to launch, or that service, you're never going to do it. I use an 80% rule. If I'm 80% there, I'm doing it. And I'm going to learn the next 20% on the way. Yeah. So that's a little lesson for everybody out there. 80% rule, if you're 80% there, just do it. Just start doing.
Yeah. And maybe that goes back to the whole, do you have enough money to do 80% of what you can do, or some percentage? Or maybe you can take a piece of that business. I've known people that maybe couldn't afford buying a whole gym, but then they offered to do maybe some aspect of the gym. Mm-hmm. Maybe they took over some service part of it that helped the company, you know what I mean? And maybe build and grow from that. I don't know. I mean, there's so many options if you look at it from different angles, and maybe have some different business mentors help you.
For sure.
Because I think for a lot of people that I see, and I see probably more trainers than any other profession, is, you are great at that one thing. There's
the technician part.
Yeah, that part of it. And you care about people. You might have to get some other people to help you with some of the other business pieces. Mm-hmm. I know that when I had the gym, it was tough because, like you, I was doing all the books and doing everything, and and your job is to be the front person and welcome people. And I remember my second gym, I made a door with no windows in kind of a nondescript hallway on the way to the gym. But once people know where that is, it's like, Jeff, how you doing, man? I'm good. I'm never going to get my taxes done. But I love you guys. So you got to figure out that balance and get people to do other parts that maybe want to help you. That's hard to... Sometimes it's hard to give up parts. I don't know.
Yeah.
Not that you have to give up parts of your business, but if you can figure out ways to get things done that'll help someone else and that'll help you, maybe there's
Being creative and having patience. I don't think it's all or nothing thing. Do I have everything that I need to start this thing? It doesn't have to be all or nothing. Either I have it or I don't. Well, there's something in between. Like you said, like start small, take on a service part, and then
not everybody agrees with that.
I agree with it.
Do you?
Yeah, I agree with it.
Some people say you gotta go big or go home.
That's a lot of risk, man.
I've done that.
And if we're single and we don't have a family, sure, let's do it.
Right.
Yeah. Another question?
Yeah.
Another question.
So, all right. So once you get your business off the ground going, question comes from Golan Halley, I believe.
Hey, Golan.
In terms of the long game, how do you measure success on a day-to-day basis to ensure you keep moving towards your goal?
Oh, that's a good question.
Let me make sure I understand this. So, long game.
In terms of the long game.
Because we're looking at long game. How do you measure success from a day-to-day basis?
You have to create some of your own, at the beginning you have to create, whether it's part of your business plan, but if so many people don't have a business. I've started businesses without business plans. I don't know what I'm doing. Fortunately,
which probably isn't the smartest thing to do.
Probably not. Because how do you know you got anywhere? Right. If you don't have a business plan and an exit vehicle, okay, I admit I never even knew what that was at one point.
Sure.
How are you going to get out of this? Well, I don't know. All of a sudden I was 35 and I had gyms, and that's not what I wanted to do when I was 35. Wait, what happened?
Yeah.
So if you don't have any kind of a benchmark set up before you get into it, because I don't know about you, but you get so into the weeds, I don't know if you even know where you are sometimes. And if you don't have at least a signpost that you put there like last month or last year at the beginning, I don't think you even know sometimes, because the craziness of business, sometimes there's so many things that are required that you didn't even know. I didn't at the beginning. It's like, oh wow, there's a whole lot more that I didn't even factor in.
That's right.
So now I'm even busier. So I don't know if I'm getting anywhere. You think that's kind of...
Absolutely. And I think we could be stuck in the weeds, like you just said. I agree with you 100%. I believe that you need
that's not very interesting.
Well, I know, but I'm going to elaborate on it.
Okay.
I believe you need your ultimate goal, and then I think you need to have benchmark goals that you would like to hit. And you think that, okay, these benchmark goals should equal my ultimate goal of business. That's the long game, right? And within those little benchmarks, now you have little tally marks of if I believe if I do X, Y, and Z, that should equal my first benchmark. And that's where you really measure your success. But you're right. Business is so chaotic, and there's so much stuff to do. We can spend days, if not weeks, stuck in the weeds, working on stuff that's not as important as what we should be working on. And then we're doing a lot of busy work, and we feel really busy, but are we actually accomplishing anything? Are we actually improving the business?
I don't want to add up how many. I used to be, I used to say, nobody worked harder than Jeff Taylor. Somebody's probably heard me say that and go, yeah, I've heard you say that. That's the stupidest thing I've ever said. Because it's like, well, I wasn't working smart.
Right.
I was feeling proud of myself because I was just running around a lot. Wait, it didn't translate to that kind of success. I wasn't meeting any of my benchmarks.
Correct.
So I needed to completely retool. Not like I'm stupid, but I was unaware and I wasn't proactive. You know what I mean? It's like sometimes you, and I still do it. You just keep going along, Wait, whoa. Which road am I driving on?
Where am I going? Yeah.
I need to chart my course as opposed, so I think that's just a process. Everybody's different. I have friends that are like super type A, and they've got the whole thing figured out. My wife is the most amazing person ever. She actually creates a business plan, a process, and follow through, and she does it. Who does that?
Successful
I'm an entrepreneur. Who does that? Oh yeah, successful people do.
Yeah, I kind of use the analogy, if you're on a boat in the middle of the ocean and you need to sail to a certain spot, land, right? If you don't have a map to get there, you're going to spend a lot of time in that ocean going all over the place. But if you have a map to get there, which you believe is a good map, right? But let's say you're following the map, you're following those little tally points to get to your first goal. And maybe I'll give some real numbers on this, like opening up a retail business. Maybe your first goal is a break-even mark. And you understand how many customers you need to hit that break-even mark based upon how much each ticket is, your per average sale dollar, right? You can figure out how many customers you need and how many, what you need to hit for your break-even mark. Then you work backwards from that and say, all right, now how do I get the customers? Well, I believe if I do some social media advertising, I believe if I do some booths, I believe I do booths at bodybuilding shows or whatever it might be, I believe I'll hit my first goal, which is 500 customers to hit my break-even point. Now, along the way, if you're not seeing success with that, then it's time to revamp those little bullet points to get that first goal.
And that's not a failure. That's just how not to do it.
Yeah.
At this time, that's the thing. It's like, that's why I'm still as motivated about business as ever, because it's constantly changing. You know what I mean? It's not. I mean, look at our world. There's stuff. I mean, obviously, iPhones 10 years ago didn't exist before July 26th, 2007. So
it's changed the world.
It really has. So I mean, think about all the things that didn't even exist 5 years ago that you're using all the time. You know what I'm saying? You have to constantly be growing and changing, and if you don't like that, it's like, well, that's we should do something else. But I love that, so I'm like, well, let's figure it out. I don't know. I don't know anything, but let's figure it out. I mean, I tell my kids that all the time.
Yeah.
I don't know how we're going to do this.
But we'll figure it out.
We're going to figure it out.
That's right. One way or the other.
One way or the other, we do.
That's right. All right, I think we did a good job answering Golden's question there. How about we take one more, and I got a couple other bullet points I would like to ask you.
Uh-oh.
But one more question there, Mike.
All right, this is from Justin Dean, and he says, do you have any suggestions as to how to keep yourself up when the day or week or month has fallen apart, and when that voice in your head is reminding you why and how you're sucking it up? How do you keep that at bay?
Well, there's a lot of good points in that.
Yeah.
I'll jump into this one if you don't mind, Jim. So I think that, because I think everybody experiences this, is when you're in a lull and you need some motivation and you're not there, right? And how do you, like we were kind of talking earlier, how do you keep that up? I think there's a lot of factors in it, and one of the biggest factors, I believe, is self-perception, how you perceive yourself and that self-doubt that you have. You definitely have to keep that at bay. I think if you don't perceive yourself as being successful, you will never be successful. And that brings me to one of my points, that always do the right thing. Be a good person. If you don't do the right things and you're not a good person, you're not going to perceive yourself very well. And that self-doubt and that negative perception is going to creep and destroy anything you have going on in life. Right? So elaborate a little more on that. And I got some more points, but I want you to talk a little bit.
Wow, because I guess, to your point, it's like after 25 years, what do I have? I have a trailer of, they can bring from event to event. That's really the only asset, but they're all intangible assets of credibility. I mean, I hope that I've taken care of people the best I possibly could, to the best of my knowledge each time. So, and hopefully I think I have a reputation of that, but, that's all you really do have. So if you don't have that, then you're kind of...
That's right. Really and measuring the things that most people might not measure as well. That's kind of what you're saying, is like your experiences and people you've helped, you measure that. Oh, I am successful. I have done a lot of good stuff.
Yeah.
And I think the other really big advocate, or a big key proponent of helping that, Justin, is being very grateful for where you're at in life. So if you can sit there and say, give me 5 things that you're grateful for, whether it be family, your health, a little bit of pocket change that you actually do have in your pocket, you're going to get out of that mood really quick.
I think so. And I think part of it, too, is like if you're charting your own course, sometimes you have to look back and go, what was it like when I was working that job where every Sunday night I was dreading going to work on Monday? I think sometimes you have to put yourself in that position. Or maybe you have people that help you ask those questions. I've had that, too. I've been really fortunate. But sometimes you just have to do it yourself, and I don't know. Is that answering the question? You want to ask it one more time to just make sure I get that covered?
Yeah, let's go run through it one more time, make sure we get it answered well.
So basically he's asking, when business is down, when he's having a bad day, week, or month, like his life is falling apart, how do you keep that little voice at bay, that self-doubt? What do you do to help bring yourself back to keep your focus?
And remember that we're playing the long game.
Yeah.
Always play the long.
Yeah, that was.
Don't stay short. If you're having a bad day, you're having a bad month in business, and money's down, sales are down, whatever it might be. You're looking towards 5 years down the road, not what's happening this month. If there's a problem in your business and you figure out what the problem is, fix it and move forward with it. But it's not like we were saying before. It's not all or nothing. It's not. Oh my God, my business is down this month, and that means that my life is over. And we can really get into that.
Yeah, you can get down on yourself. I think most guys that I know are their own worst critics. Mm-hmm. Is that, you know?
Absolutely.
I mean, I feel like, you know, if you're constantly shaming yourself, that's not helping. And, you know, I got to say, I mean, I couldn't have gotten through all this stuff, one, without Melissa and without Rick Jett, my counselor. I mean, as much about business as marriage and relationships. It's like, and I think only like 5% of guys think it's okay to go to a counselor. Well, you're messed up. Isn't everybody?
Well, I'm not crazy. I don't need a shrink, right? I've heard that before.
Yeah,
I love counseling. Obviously, my background's in it, and I think it's super important. Super important.
Preaching the choir on this one, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but I mean, sometimes you have a sticking point. I mean, maybe not this podcast, but another one. Some of the things are hilarious that I couldn't get past. That I actually, you know, Rick could give me a few tools. It's like, well, that worked. Like for instance, I had to pay my friend $20 if I didn't do this minimum amount of things that I wanted to do, but I could never do it. To be the dad or husband that I wanted, it's like, we hate cooking, so I never cook. Okay, I cook one meal a week, and, you know, I'm at the meal, because in my world, I think I need to be at gyms at the nighttime, and so I'm not having dinners with my family, but I want to. I came up with this plan, or we came up with this plan. It's like, okay, if you don't do these, at least this minimum, you have to find your friend, you have to pay him $20. You know,
accountability. Yeah.
And now I make breakfast every single morning.
It's amazing. Money.
It was like $260. I was like, that is it.
Your friend was getting rich on you. That's a great business model right there. Accountability. Find friends that hold you accountable and charge them money. I like that.
Exactly.
You know, you said a couple things in that about who you're surrounding yourself with. Your wife, your mentor, your friends. And I definitely want to hit on that point as how important it is to surround yourself with like-minded people. And I know you've done a really good job with that, Jeff. Can you elaborate on that?
Well, I don't know. I think I'm just really thankful. I'm like rich with friends. You know, I don't know about so much with money, but I mean, we both could have been doing something different, made a lot more money. But I love what I do, and I love the people I do it with. That's worth, you know, I don't know what number that is, but it's worth a lot.
Because they say you're the average of the people you surround yourself with.
Yeah, I think it's pretty important to be able to moderate that. If you can't find those people, you need to do something different, I think, or be a part of different groups, or if you feel like you're getting stuck, I don't know, and sometimes it's hard because you don't want people to think you don't like them. It's like, I like all my friends.
For sure. Mm-hmm.
Some friends are different than others, and some friends, you know, we talk about certain things and other. So maybe it's partly perception. I don't know if there's one friend that is like the all-purpose, I do everything. You know what I mean? Maybe that friend is a person that is an encourager. Maybe that's a person that exhorts you or really asks the hard questions. I have friends that are different like that, you know. I'm pretty lucky, so I think you have to seek it out, though. What do you think? I don't know. I mean, it just has happened for me. I don't know what...
Sure, and I got a little bit different experience, so this might be a very interesting to share this side of it is, you're growing up, I grew up in a small town in Nebraska on a farm, so it's not like I was exposed to a bunch of big business people and that education there. So, and like you said, I love my friends, absolutely. And being born an entrepreneur like I am, like I don't feel like it's a choice. It just is. I am who I am, right? I was actually so all right. To elaborate on that, I don't have a lot of like-minded friends that I associate with, and I realized that the other day, and I was actually really down about it, and I almost felt like, oh my God, I'm like, there's no one really out there that's like me. And I can't relate to anybody on that level. Yeah. And I was actually really sad about it in the beginning. And then I realized, well, okay, yes, I am an individual. I am different than most people, but there is a percentage of population of people that are like me, which are a small percent. Right. And finding those and being friends, like I reached out to you, Jeff, and said, hey, I'd love to just sit down and have lunch and just get to know each other more. We've known each other for a long time, but not on a more personal level. And just being around you and having the good conversations that we have helps me tremendously in my business and in life.
Yeah. You know, I was going to say, what struck me when you were saying that is it's like, this is exactly why our NPC Colorado community is so supportive. Because you're all like-minded. Everyone's eating, you know, a meal plan, and you bring boxes and you eat every 2 or 3 hours, and to the rest of the world, you're like a weirdo, and people make fun of you, and they try to make you eat the birthday cake at work.
Right. They force
don't want to, and then they make, and then they are, and they have their own problems. Like if you don't do it, they make you feel guilty. It's kind of like when you don't drink and you go to a party. It's like, I don't care if anybody else drinks, but if you don't drink, you're judging them.
Right.
No. But that's their problem.
Yeah, that
so maybe you have to get into a group, and that's why I think so many people, I have friends that make friends backstage at the shows, and their fast friends still are years later. What? Because they got thrown into this mix. They already had all these things in common to start with, and then they found a couple personality triggers. It's like, wow, we're like the same. Right. And exchange phone number, they're great friends. They start working out, whatever. That happens a lot. Yeah. That is pretty cool.
Yeah, and that's a great community that you've built there.
Well, I don't know if I built it, but I've hopefully created an environment for it to germinate and nurture it, because that is the most important thing in my world. But I think it has to happen for business too, because I think you've made a good point. It's like if you're a total lone ranger, it's pretty hard,
pretty lonely,
because it's weird. Most people don't understand what happens. Yep. After your store closes, or what happens in the offices. You're like, oh man, there's like so much other stuff. It's just like the tip of the iceberg what you see out.
Yeah. And even the mindset, like I said, I don't know if this said in this podcast, but my mindset is completely different than someone else's. Like, I love Mondays. Mondays are amazing for me. I get to show up and create my world, and I'm creating all this stuff, and then I'm so happy to be back at work. And most people hate Mondays, right? Everyone loves Fridays. I hate Fridays. My work week's done, and I'm sad because I'm done creating, right? But I get to go on and spend good, valuable time with my family. I have a different mentality than most people, and these guys make fun of me all the time on it, like, you're a freak. yeah, of course you're not like anybody else, and I'm always constantly thinking of how to better this and how to better that, and I live in this happy little bubble because I believe my perception is my reality, so I don't let anything mess with my perception, right? So, just a little bit different, and it can be lonely if you don't find like-minded people, but anything else on that, Jeff?
No, I think that's a good wrap on that one. That makes a lot of sense.
Well, I think maybe we take one more Facebook question and wrap up with some stuff that you want to wrap up with, and so it's a good podcast.
We're good on questions.
Good on questions? All right. Let's wrap it up. So here we have Jeff Taylor with NPC chairman. Thanks, Jeff, for coming and do the podcast. I feel like that was very valuable to our
the only thing I think we're missing was some Tokyo Joes.
Yes, that would help out a lot.
Larry.
And anything else you want to tell?
No, you know what? I just want people to come and see the things that get created and experience the NPC Colorado world, because it is just a great way when you have the goals and what we just talked about in the last thing. You eat like this, you have a meal plan, you haven't competed yet, but you will someday. And when you go to a show, you're like, wow, I'm further along than I thought, or maybe that's where I want to go. And then you meet some people that are like-minded, that are whatever. It happens all the time. I think it's just the coolest thing.
Yep, I agree. Community is important.
So you can go to musclequest.com and check out the events page.
Okay. Any other links you want us to put on?
No, if you want to check out my wife's site, imaginationsoup.net.
There you go.
If you want to get books for your kids for reading or games, man, we've played some hilarious games lately.
Sure. That's valuable.
Awesome.
Sure. Yeah, and just to recap this podcast, the name of the podcast is Success Uncut, and what we're really trying to do here is kind of get raw with business owners and like-minded entrepreneurs and anybody successful in life, and show the reality of entrepreneurship, because it's not as glamorous as what people think. But it can be absolutely 100% rewarding.
Agreed.
Great. All right, Jeff.
Thanks.
Thanks, man. Great.